I came third in the whole of Australia. I go to, you've got young guys like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds that are jabbing shit ton more than I am, acid or whatever, and he jumped off 2 floors. He jumped out.
Whoa.
But he was on drugs. Threw his medal entertaining people. Oh, how much you take. You can fuck up your prep in an hour before you get on stage. And then once I'm on stage, it's up to them. Like, no one else's opinion matters.
Bang, welcome back to the #1 podcast in the world. I'm joined here today with Bryan Defina, professional bodybuilder and recently placed third in the IFBB state champion at super heavyweight. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Congratulations, first and foremost. We had to get a bigger studio just to fit you in here.
I'm not that big, trust me. I'm just, 100 kilos, that's about it. But aiming for it.
Just 100 kilos, man. 100 kilos of lean, pure muscle. And look at those arms. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what? How many years did I tell you? I should be training for at least 7 years now.
Wow. So it's kind of become a body of work for you. Like, it's become...
Yeah, like, I wasn't that kid that really... I didn't watch the whole, back in the day, Iron, like, Generation Iron. Like, I used to admire Arnold, but it was never like a, you know, my role model. I wanted to be like him type of thing. It's just, like I said before, like, powerlifting started, like the whole lifting heavy, ego type of thing. But then, I don't know, I was just sick of the injuries and then really got into the whole bodybuilding aspect with the whole concept of like...
So was powerlifting like your first introduction to sports, or did you have a background before that?
I was playing rugby.
Okay.
But I started rugby when I was 16, stopped when I was 17 because of work, needed to make money. But yeah, old rugby, powerlifting, then bodybuilding. That's all I've ever really done.
Yeah, I think characters like Arnold really transformed bodybuilding into this really grunty sport that, you know, it's like you just have to train harder and train harder and train harder. And Arnold actually turned it into like a kind of an art form in a way. Like, I don't know if you've seen those. Have you watched Pumping Iron before?
Yeah, I've watched all of them now.
You've watched all of them. So that scene of him doing ballet and getting like those poses like absolutely perfect. So
transitions and all that stuff.
Yeah, like he transformed the sport from just this like pure athleticism to like a real art form.
Yeah.
And it was just very revolutionary for its time.
Yes, especially for like Arnold, like coming from nothing and
literally a street in Austria.
Adding his own.
You've got this huge like bodybuilder, Arnold Schwarzenegger, next to like this very petite ballerina. And he really understood that as much as bodybuilding is a craft of lifting heavy and getting bigger biceps and bigger triceps, he really focused on the symmetry and he really focused on the elegance of the art.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's very much the differentiation between bodybuilders and powerlifters.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Where powerlifters, it's not even about the look. It's how much you can eat. Like, if you've got good core strength and you can lift the weight, that's all it is about. But when it comes to bodybuilding, it's... I know the training aspect of it over the years has changed, but it's like you've got kids these days that do the whole heavy lifting still. And to be honest, like I know that the professionals like Seabum, Regan Grimes, you know, Ronnie Coleman, especially, that used to lift heavy, but I don't know. Arnold did the whole heavy lifting, but it wasn't heavy lifting like people try to do today, like chuck on 10 plates on a leg press and squat it, where, you know, now you can actually just control the reps. Things like train smarter is the whole concept. Like you don't have to do the whole old school, like break your back and walk out of the gym limping, as long as you got your legs worked out.
Well, Ronnie Coleman literally has every disc in his spine fused.
Exactly. Like, you don't want, like, you want to last in this sport. You want to be competing until, you know, you're finally overdoing it, not because you've got injuries or you can't walk up the stairs type of thing. Yeah. But yeah, like, that's what transitioned me from powerlifting to bodybuilding, because I was just sick of, after doing a deadlift or doing squats, because if I remember correctly, when I was doing powerlifting, my PBs were 270 for squats, 260 for deadlifts and 200 for bench press, and they're not big numbers. Like I never tried to.
I don't know. I've never squat 270, bro. That's fucking like, wild.
I'm being honest. Like they're not big numbers for guys that are my weight, and I never ever did a powerlifting competition. I just enjoyed lifting heavy. But yeah, like I said, going to the whole concept of like walking out of the gym felt more painful than enjoyable, if that makes sense.
Right.
But now it's just, I know what I'm doing. I've taken in the knowledge of all these other bodybuilders, learned, and yeah, everything's just growing in the way that I want it to.
So do you think it was fair to say then that you kind of always grew up athletically then? Like you always grew up fairly fit and fairly healthy, and you always kind of took care of yourself? Because you did mention before you had the rugby thing going behind you.
Yeah, but the whole rugby thing was like, I don't know, I used to play at school, and because I was fat and fast.
Oh, were you fat?
Yeah, I was 130 fat. Like
not lean 130.
No. Like a proper fat, like man boobs, hanging gut, everything. Honestly, like I was so embarrassed of what I looked like before I erased everything. Like
right.
No photos, no that. Like I just erased all of it and then just started training, dropped 20 foot. Like when I first...
What was the catalyst for you to start training?
I was just uncomfortable with my body. I was just like, I hated looking in the mirror. I don't know. I didn't really get, like, I wouldn't say I got bullied in school. I was never bullied. Like, it was just, I hated the look.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people out there right now that are listening to this, right, probably aren't 100% comfortable with the way they look either. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone wants to lose 5 kilos or put on 5 kilos or improve their performance or just look better without a shirt on. You know, like everyone's kind of got that broad goal.
Yeah, definitely.
It's everyone's first New Year's resolution. What are you going to do this year? I'm going to lose weight. It's everyone's resolution, right? But I'm curious to know what's the catalyst that sets someone from I want to do this thing to bang, I'm doing this thing now. Was there a catalyst to you? Was there something that really pushed you over the edge? Was there a threshold?
For bodybuilding, my catalyst was, I don't know, like the whole concept of I was training and I felt like I wasn't going nowhere. Like I just felt like, why am I spending 2 hours? I obviously love it. It would be like you coming in here, like spending 2 hours and not posting your videos.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you need to do something with it. Where me, it was like I was training, I was lifting, I was getting better to a certain extent, but I wasn't taking it to the next step. You know, I wasn't taking it to the full potential. For me, like I got on stage and did my first cop naturally, and I don't know, I just fell in love with it ever since then. Like I just enjoyed the whole progress. Like a lot of people enjoy it, like they look forward to the reward. Me, I've always just been in love with the whole process of bodybuilding, the prep, the bulk, the eating, the dieting, getting hungry. That's about it. But that was my wake-up call to like do something with myself in that whole concept. Like everything you should do, everything you do in your life should be towards something, I feel. So that's what I've just, even with working, training, sleeping, just everything.
Yeah, I think there's like real... there's something really to romanticize about that ability to fall in love with your craft and fall in love with what you do, because it takes that, you know, when you're doing a bicep curl and you feel like you're maxed out or you hit your rep max and you're just trying to push for one more. It's that the fact that you love that process and the fact that you enjoy that process makes it so much more likely that you're going to find success.
Yeah, definitely.
In that process. Because if you hate the whole thing, if you go to the gym and you don't want to be there and you don't want to rock up, and I'm sure everyone has their days, right? Like I'm sure even for yourself, you probably have days where you're not as motivated for the gym.
I can't say that I've felt that.
Really?
No, like honestly, hasn't been a day where I've missed it unless I'm dying, like sick.
Wow.
There's never been a day where I've woken up and felt, no, I don't want to train. There's never been a day at work, if work's fucked me bad, I would still go as tired as I am. Like if I'm dead tired. Like I don't even drink caffeine anymore. No coffees, no pre-workouts.
No pre-workout.
The only pre-workout I have is non-stim. So I don't know if you like Callum's brand, Staunch.
Let's find it.
The non-stim pre-workout, that's the one that I take.
Mm-hmm. What benefits do you find with non-stim pre-workout as opposed to stim pre-workout?
Look, with the stim pre-workouts, there's always going to be a crash. There's always going to give you that buzz feeling for the first 15 minutes of your workout. But
any of these ones here?
You feel a crash, you get this good feeling for the first 15 minutes, and
yeah,
you know, what was the point of it? Where like ever since I stopped having caffeine, like don't get me wrong, I'm Italian, so like if someone comes over and says let's have a coffee, or I'll have a short black, that's about it. But taking any sort of caffeine just stopped. Like I don't need that sort of energy to get me through the day. But like as you were saying before, do I ever have that feeling like I can't be fucked? No. Like if I don't go to the gym, I feel weird. I feel like I have not done what I needed to do in the day. It would feel like not going to work and getting a paycheck, pretty much. But I haven't had that feeling. That's why like a lot of people, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate on this, but like a lot of people when they say I want to compete, and how you said before, if you hate the whole thing, what's the point of doing it? But even if you hate a part of it, you're going to end up hating all of it. You know what I mean? Like you can't hate eating food and say I want to compete. You can't hate not having a cheat meal and say you want to compete. You know what I mean? Like you got to enjoy every part of it. The loss, the win, the eating, starving yourself, drinking all that water, not drinking enough water. You know what I mean? Like it's a lifestyle. It's not just how every other sport, like you get play tennis, soccer, you got a game. You train 3 days of the week, you train. But after you train, after you've played your game, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can eat whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Go out, get smashed or whatever. But with bodybuilding, even after your comp, you need a reverse diet. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go back to eating whatever you want, have a cheat meal every day. You need to go back to eating the way you went down. You need to go back up in that concept. Like there's a lot of professional bodybuilders out there, like yes, because they're on the Olympia stage, they're known as a bodybuilder. But it doesn't have to you don't have to be just a bodybuilder. Like you can still enjoy your life. Like I feel like I enjoy my life. During prep it's a bit hard. Obviously you can't go out and eat, go drink, whatever. But I've never been into drinking and stuff. Like I do enjoy my food, don't get me wrong. I like to go to a brand new restaurant that's just popped up, try out its new food. But during prep that's a lot harder. But off season I can do it on weekends. Yeah. You know, go for a hike. Do anything that anybody else can.
Well, I guess that's a good way to kind of pivot into the next kind of topic I wanted to touch on with you, is that you're like, how much do you weigh right now? 120, did you
126.
say? 126. How do you fuel a 126 kilo walking tank of a human being? Like what is going into your body that allows you to maintain this size and if not even grow?
Okay, well, if we're talking about food first, I'm currently on 6,500 calories, and
that is so much calories.
Well, like to me, that's just normal to me. Like there's only like a day during the week where I'm like, it's a struggle, but the food wise in the morning, food's really enjoyable. The food during the day is the same, but it's pretty plain Jane. It's just like chicken, 250 grams of that, 300 grams of rice, veggies. Like I said, it's not really food to me anymore.
Do you have a nutritionist? Do you have someone that's
I've got my coach. He's on Instagram. If you want to look him up, he's Body Beyond.
Body Beyond.
Yeah, he's my coach. He's I have done 2 comps with him.
Big shout out to Body Beyond.
Yeah, Stan is his name.
Stan.
Yeah, like
and so he just helps people get into
he preps people. He's also like he life coach. I reckon he's a life coach. He's got another knowledge with what he talks about. Like he's very into the whole concept of like gut health, you know, making sure whatever you take like unnaturally, like gear wise and all that stuff, like you're taking it properly, you're taking the right stuff with it, like vitamin wise and all that stuff. But yeah, he's a really good coach.
So you take gear?
Yes, I do.
What do you take?
Right now, I'm currently on test. the slow acting one, so test E, and growth hormone, GH, and that's about it for now. So it's just a cruise.
Right.
But that photo you just pulled up there, I was on Anavar and Stanozol. Anavar and Stanozol, and test, trend, Masteron, GH. And that's about it. Obviously, the dosages come into part of that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that's what I was on.
And I guess this opens up like a whole new kind of topic of discussion, because bodybuilding, especially in the pro leagues and Olympia, is synonymous with steroid use and synonymous.
Well,
like
they keep it on the low type of thing.
Yeah, but everyone knows.
Yeah.
It's part of the culture. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to know from your first-hand experience, because you said you competed naturally and then you competed, let's call it dirty, although it's not really dirty if everyone's on it.
Yeah.
What difference did you see in your performance? Did you feel like you could lift more? Do you feel like you recovered better? Do you feel like you just grew faster? Like, what results did you get as a result of starting to get onto steroids?
Getting onto steroids did all that recovery. Like, it sped it up quite quickly. And growing, yes, it helped me grow a lot.
Was it instant? Like, was it instantly you could just go back into the gym next day? And
Look, it's not the whole concept that you could train legs and then smash them again tomorrow. It wouldn't be that quick. But understanding the whole concept of gear is understanding that it's not a miracle drug. So it doesn't work if you just rely on it. Like everything else, sleep, eating, recovering, relaxing, keeping your cortisol levels low so you're not stressing, holding onto water. Gear is nothing by itself. You can eat like shit, you can sleep like shit, you can do everything else that isn't good for you, and gear won't do nothing to you. Like the gym that I go to, you've got young guys, like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds that are jabbing shit ton more than I am and asking me, why am I not big? Do you eat properly? Do you sleep? Are you staying up?
The sleep is the big one.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Sleep is literally where muscle recovery occurs, and sleep is where, you stimulate a muscle. Let's just kind of go back to the bicep curl again, right? You stimulate that muscle over and over and over again repetitively, and you create all these tears in the muscle fiber, but it's not until you sleep and allow your body to heal that the muscle will actually grow or strengthen or become more elastic, whatever kind of training that you've been doing.
Yeah. So you understand it quite well, that even you need all of it. You can't just have one that's doing well. You get good sleep, but if you eat bad, you do everything else, it's not going to work. And like I've told so many people that have ever come up to me and said, oh, how much you take? What are you taking? How long you've been training? Like, there's people that can do shit in 8 months, and there's people that do it and it takes them 2 years. But if you're not doing it to the T properly, you're not going to get the results that you want, especially if you just want to be big for Stereosonic or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of times I've had people come up to me, oh, I want to look good for summer, I want to look good for this festival. Like, you don't need to jump on gear for that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you want to look good with your shirt off, fair enough, but do you really need to jab 10 mils of trend?
Yeah. To
look good? No, you don't. Like I said, the reason why I did my comp naturally is just to see where I was at, where my foundation of my body was. Like, symmetrical, is out of my body parts out of proportion, and I realized that I could do it naturally, then I could definitely do it on gear. But yeah, gear has helped with a lot of things, but it's not just a miracle drug. Like, there's side effects too, like temper. Like, you do want to constantly eat, and your moods go up and down. It causes.
Oh, is that a side effect of steroids? The eating.
No, it's not a side effect of steroids. Like, you got to understand. Like, if it makes you moody, what do you do when you're moody? You eat comfort food.
Right. Yeah.
So like a lot of people, if they don't wrap their head around that, like jabbing a shit ton of test, you got to understand your estrogen levels go up as well. And estrogen is a female hormone.
That's why you see a lot of bodybuilders, they might have like a bit of excess fat around their pecs,
especially
right?
the gyno and all that stuff.
Yeah,
definitely. And that hormone is like what causes you to look for comfort in certain things. So food for a lot of bodybuilders is what brings them back from taking it to the next level. And in saying that, like I'm not naming any names, but there's a lot of competitors. no. There's a lot of competitors that prep and they cheat. And like, I don't know, for me, if I'm playing,
what do you mean by cheat?
Like eat a cheat meal.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like
okay.
they're cheating. Look, when I say cheat as well, like there's a lot of competitors that do natural comps and they are on gear.
Yeah.
There's those.
I was talking to Jess. Do you know Jess Gisela?
Yeah, I watched
Jess
that.
Robertson.
Yeah.
She's talking a lot about that, how, you know, the testing for steroids in particular is so expensive for these organizations, and bodybuilding isn't necessarily a sport that has a huge amount of funding, especially the natural competitions. Because if you're going to a bodybuilding competition, unfortunately, the appeal is not really for natural bodybuilding. It's going to be how big, how crazy, how symmetrical can the bodies get. And you're going to get the elites of the elites in the traditional bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, the natural competitions don't get the same amount of resources, which means less testing, which means there's a lot more loopholes for people to jump through, right?
Exactly, yeah. With that, with the whole concept of that sort of cheating, where natural people claim that they're natural and they're not, and they jump on a natural stage, is wrong.
Of course.
You know, it's like, I feel sorry for those ones there that jump on stage and are cheating and they don't win. Like, it's like a cheating on a chest and you don't get 100. Like, what's the point? You might as well just go into the federation that allows you, it's not allow, but obviously don't check it, but don't check for gear.
Isn't Olympia though that you're allowed to be on gear? That's from my understanding. It's that as long as you're prescribed the steroids, then it's okay. So you have to kind of go into a doctor's office and they have to do your blood work and they have to check everything. And they don't ask any questions.
No, they don't. Like Olympia is like, you're looking for the peak of what a human can be, pretty much. Like every category is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people they say that they like the classic and they like the physique look, so the board shorts and stuff. But when it comes to my category, super heavies like Big Ramy and all that stuff, like that's that's when you're taking it to the freak level. And I've been called that a lot of time, like insane freak, whatever.
Do you take it personally?
No, I like it. Like, not that I like it, it's just the whole concept, like I know what is normal to me, and obviously getting to that size is not normal to a lot of people, but for me, it's a goal that I want to get to.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a great quote about that. Whenever people criticized him about his body, like, oh, you're too big, like, I'd never want to look like you, he'd simply reply, like, well, you won't.
Yeah, you won't.
You never will.
No. Not that I say it to people, it's just like when I hear people say, oh, I would never want to get that big.
This is you in your competition. I mean, wow.
Yeah. See, my last two comps before that, so like they call it overspilling. So the comp I did before this, I overspilled on NABA. So I was...
Why don't you break that down for the people?
Yeah, so like, so my coach, like I had my check-in on Wednesday and I looked really good. And to fill out, you need to eat. You got to start stocking up on carbs. And my coach was just learning my body, as was I. So this core was not anyone's fault. So let's put that out there. So I had sushi on Thursday and on Friday. So obviously the stress from like life with work and all that stuff had caused me to hold on to water, but also the sodium in the sushi caused me to overspill. So
of course.
So what I look like there was my best that I've ever looked. But my comp before, I was pretty washed out, smooth, no definition, no deep cuts.
And just from those like couple simple mistakes on the tail end.
Let me get this clear. You can fuck up your prep in an hour before you get on stage.
Really?
And you can fuck it up in an hour. It takes anything. Trust me. Like, it's fucked.
Okay, so those last couple hours before you get on stage then, I mean, without giving away all of your secrets, because I'm sure you've got a couple, but what does that process look like? How do you make sure that you look like this on stage?
Well, it's really the peak week. That's the majority of things. So they call peak week the last week of like prep.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like if we're talking about the night before, you know, you're going to take diuretics to flush out all the water. You're not sipping on too much water. You don't drink too much water so that your body holds on to it, because your body's on so much stress. It's going to hold on to anything that feels like nutrients to it.
So essentially water cutting, much like a fighter would.
Yes, definitely. And with the food, like, look, for me, my body's very different to a lot of bodybuilders, where a lot of bodybuilders say, I can have a burger before I jump on stage, and they look great. They can do that, don't get me wrong. But my protocol was no carbs. So I barely ate anything. So I had probably 1 meal of chicken by itself with veggies, and I was just sipping on super greens, and that's it. And that's all I had for that comp.
Paid off.
Well, look, I'm happy with the result that I like. You know, from someone that's come from a late stage of bodybuilding, like I started at 21, you know, I've been doing it for 5 years after 21, but yeah, like I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, you've really, really accomplished something there, man. Like, it's genuinely incredible.
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure in your mind it's kind of like, it's not everything. I've still got more in the tank.
Yeah, like in my head, like to me, that's like him. He's the past now, obviously, but like the whole concept is to make him look smaller, to be more conditioned than what he was, and yeah, bring a better package the next time I jump a comp.
What body fat percentage are you there?
There, I would say 5, and I was a lot because I was drinking
5%. That's nothing.
But see, that one there, I didn't deplete my water. I was drinking 5 liters every day until comp. But for Melbourne, I was a lot leaner and a lot more.
What's the leanest you've been?
It would have been Melbourne, 4%.
4%.
Yeah.
Wow.
4%.
That's getting like on the dangerous end of body fat percentage.
Yeah, like for a super heavy, yeah. Like you got to realize with a lot of super heavies, besides the professionals, like especially in Australia because it's not as big here, that being conditioned is very hard for a super heavy because of the amount of weight that they're holding, and
of course,
like a lot of water that's in their muscles.
Do you ever feel like lightheaded or dizzy on stage? Because I know for like a lot of your brain function and a lot of your neurological pathways actually rely a lot on fats.
Yeah.
Particularly omega-3s and omega-5s. Like if you don't have a vast like storage of that, it actually does inhibit brain function both in short and long term.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know if you've ever felt any side effects from being at such a low body fat percentage.
See, what you're saying now is completely correct, but like I said, my protocol was very different. So I had no carbs, but I had a lot of fats.
Ah, I see.
So for me, it worked very well with my protocol, where other people don't even have any fats at all and rely on the carbs. So yeah, to me here on that day there, I felt great. Like compared to all my other comps where I felt like a zombie. I didn't want to stand up for too long, sweating, tired, agitated, whatever. But this one here, you know, I was just chilled out, relaxed. I didn't even...
And to tie it back into what Arnold's point and what he's turned bodybuilding into is that it's a performance. It's,
exactly.
You know, when we're looking at the bodies here, like between the three of you, and I'm sure you've got a much higher eye to detail and you're going to be able to pick apart exactly where you're beating someone or where someone's beating you. Yeah. But to the general public, the three of you just look like you're in incredible shape.
Yeah.
Right. You just look incredible. So now we're looking at, naturally as a consumer of the show, we're just looking at who's the most comfortable on stage, who looks like they should be there, who's owning it. And I have to say in that moment, it has to be you. But
yeah, look, I'm
So
going to
I
say
think-
a lot of people say that I need to smile more, as you can see in the photo. I don't smile a lot, to be honest. But
I don't think you have to smile, but it's a performance. It's a show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And kind of coming back to the point I was making is that if you're agitated or if you're angry or if things are going on behind the scenes and that's spilling out on stage,
it affects
it
everything.
affects everything, man. I've had podcasts before where I've got shit going on in the background and, you know, X and Y's arguing or there's lots of traffic or things just aren't playing out. And I can see it, you know, when I watch the episode back, I'm like, oh yeah, I just wasn't in the flow state there.
Yeah.
So two questions to stem from that. Number one, do bodybuilders play... What's the culture around competitors? Is everyone pretty friendly and pretty sociable, or is it a bit of psychological warfare?
It really depends on the person.
Right.
Like, it really depends. Like, I can say this comp here was a very friendly comp.
Okay.
Okay, so like, is that Mitch? Yeah, Mitch, the one that's on your left hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the blokes that trains at my gym.
Oh, beautiful.
And like, we're mates, like we're close. And at the back, it was, so at this IFBB theatre, it's very hard to pump up backstage because there's a staircase that everybody's walking up and down. It's very hard to like tie your bands to the rails and pump up your back or your shoulders or whatever. So I told him, turn around, I'll hold the bands for you, and pump up. So like, being mates with most of the people there, it was a friendly comp. But then you have dicks, like guys that are there that think they're the shit when they're not, or like, you know, just angry, like telling off whoever, whatever, or like getting the shits because, you know, they need to pump up or they didn't get caught on time or whatever. But so in Melbourne, I experienced my first dickhead. And like, I'm going to name him because personally I don't like how he acted after he got his medal. So I came third in the whole of Australia. And then there was Mike Lucy that came second. I was 1 point away.
I did remember reading that you guys were extremely tired.
Yeah, like me and him were neck and neck. And for me to be 26, going up a 36-year-old and a 34-year-old, and guys that are older than me, I'm cheering. Like, whatever I come, I'm happy. Like, it's the first time that I'm on a national stage. I'm bringing my best package that I've ever brought. I'm never going to complain. Like, I'm happy with what I brought. But then when you've got Michael Lucy that got his medal, bitched about it, broke his band backstage and threw his medal at detaining people, like, you're 36, you're not a child. Like, you came second in Australia. And the guy that came first, Dave Fidel, which I'm now mates with, I got close with him after comp. He's a fucking monster. He's a beast. He's shorter than me, don't get me wrong, but I think I've got him, his name's Dave. I think he's public. I'm not too sure. Excuse me.
Is he on your profile?
I don't think I've posted him on my profile.
Okay, so Dave Fidel.
There he is, top one. Yeah, he's public, so you'll see his...
Right. Oh, Jesus.
Like, he's like... He came first. Like, fuck, he deserved it.
And right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he looked fucking unreal.
Yeah.
And, like, you've got a bloke that comes second that's bitching about he didn't come first. Like, this sport is supposed to be all about sportsmanship. Like, you fucking 20 to 16 weeks worth of prep, dieting, eating, fucking drinking, not going out, not being able to have fucking a cheat meal with your missus because, you know, whatever. But
huge amount of sacrifice, huge amount of time,
exactly.
huge amount
and
of
like,
money.
when you all come together on stage, you should be like fucking praising each other. Like,
yeah,
fuck,
of course.
we made it, you know, look at us.
Well, this is the interesting aspect of bodybuilding that I've really kind of come to understand is that for most sports, and not all sports, but for most sports, there's direct competition, right? You know, you've got AC Milan versus Juventus. These are 11 men on each side going against each other.
Exactly.
Or you've got MMA, you've got Conor McGregor versus Khabib. It's two people going against each other. Bodybuilding is such a unique sport in that your real competition is just yourself.
Exactly.
It is just yourself. It's the person on stage who beat you because they're better at fighting themselves.
Exactly. And they would have looked, but understand, every other sport, yes, you're either versing someone, but you're actually versing another person. Like, just say tennis, it's back and forth until someone gets all the points. And it's with McGregor as well, like you said. It's whoever knocks the other bloke out.
Yep.
With this, you have 8 people sitting in front of you that are judging your body. Mm-hmm. So you're leaving what you look and what your mentality is of yourself into someone else's hands. So you could be that person that looks in the mirror and think, yeah, I'm fucking sexy as fuck, like I look great, blah, blah, blah. Jump on stage. You're not going to get the same fucking response.
Yeah.
As great as you could look, you won't get the same fucking response. Where I'm the type of person where before stage, I didn't even look at the fucking mirror. So I didn't even know what I looked like until I got the photos back. Like,
Really?
I'm that type of person. Like, I will wake up, if I need to look in the mirror to check my hair, check my face is clean, look up my nose, if there's anything, blah, 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 whatever. I'll do that. But I'm the type of person that if I'm about to jump on stage, the only person that I'm going to leave my look up to is my coach to say if I'm good to go. And then once I'm on stage, it's up to them. Like, no one else's opinion matters.
Yeah.
It's whatever the judges say.
Yeah.
I'm not beating anyone. I'm not beating the guy on the left or the right. It's me. And let's make sure I bring a better package.
And I think that level of humility and self-awareness is really what's going to drive your career forward, man. I think when you're hitting second place and throwing a tantrum and throwing your medal on the ground and cussing out the person that came first. I mean, firstly, it's horrible for your brand and people's perception of you, but it's also horrible for your relationship with yourself, man. Like, if you're the type of person that can't accept defeat or can't accept a loss, then you're going to just constantly run into that same wall over and over and over again. Yeah. And it's going to get bigger and uglier, and people are going to know you as that guy.
But you know what? The ones that come second and the ones that come first and like say, yeah, you know what, I deserved it. I appreciate a humble person. I feel like the worst kind of people are the ones that have, like, long story short, we have a lot of competitors in the gym that I train at.
Right. Where do you train?
Revolution, Smith and Grange.
Big shout out, Revolution, Smith and Grange.
Yeah, it's a good gym, a lot of good equipment, and all that stuff. And they put a lot of it, like, they've got 2 posters up there of 2 bodybuilders, well, 1 female and 1 male. And they're going to put my photo up there. And
wow.
Yeah, and a few other people that have competed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying about first-time competitors, and this goes out to anyone that's deciding to compete. If you think you have a sense of entitlement, that you should fucking win the first time you fucking do something, you're a fucking idiot. Go in there with the mentality to win, but don't go telling other people. Like, if you're going to put a post up on Instagram, 20 weeks or 16 weeks till I win. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, there's someone out there, like, you can understand there's someone doing the same sport as you. Yeah. There's someone out there that's probably working harder than you. As long as you're working hard, work hard.
That probably has a stronger base, is coming in from a better starting point, right? Because if you're in your 3rd year of competing as opposed to your 1st, then you've got 3 years of competing behind you. You know what to expect. You know what the experience is. Your body's already made the adjustments.
Exactly. But then there's cocky fucking people like I said, I'm not here to name and shame people. I hate the whole concept of people that compete and don't get first place, don't get second, and sook about it. I didn't get what I thought I should have, or I didn't get what I came for. You didn't get what you didn't get it because you didn't get it. Yeah. It's like your first time competing. What the fuck do you expect? You can't, you expect to beat someone that's been doing it for 10 years. And they know what the fuck they're doing. They know what to eat. They know how to train. They know how to pose. Like you diminishing 10 years of fucking experience. Yeah. Over your I decided to compete 16 weeks ago.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've diverged a little bit from the question, but so do you think? Have you ever seen like strategic kind of plays to get under other people's skin? Because that's another thing Arnold was very well known for. He would like very much kind of pose around the room and establish his presence, and then he'd sit down. Like, he literally sat down with his opponent's parents and congratulated their son right in front of him for coming second before the competition even played out. Like, brilliant psychological play.
Yeah.
He prepared them for, like, good job, but coming second this year, in a couple of years' time, you'll be ready to come first, you know? And, like, just that moral kind of annihilation that would have on a competitor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know we're kind of deviating away from don't be an arsehole on stage to... Well, Arnold was actually very good at it, and you could see why he was doing it.
He like, that's the difference. He could be an arsehole. He could be a cocky bloke.
Yeah.
He had the confidence. He had this, like, he established that he was a fucking winner.
Yeah.
That's why he could do it.
And
like,
I mean,
if I was going up against Arnold back then and he was doing that shit to me, I'd be like, yeah, like, like, fuck. Like you got Louis Ferrego.
Yeah.
Taller than him. Wasn't as conditioned, wasn't as symmetrical, I see. But... And
trained like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Trained hard.
That's what I mean. He trained hard, but no. Like, Arnold had every right to be that way. And I'm not saying just because you win fucking 10 gold medals, you can be a dickhead.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, when it comes to this sort of competition, yeah, you can do it. Like, psychologically fuck up someone. But... to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Arnold was doing it in America. And like I said, like, we only have 2 comps here that can get you into competing overseas if you get your pro card. Like, if you want to do IFBB Pro Leagues, you get the ticket to go Olympia. In America, there's 32.
There's 32?
There's 32 fucking comps.
Whoa.
Compared to here. You know what I mean? Like, that's why... there's so many fucking competitors. That's why there's so many fucking pros over there, because it's...
So if that's the case, then have you ever considered making the move over there?
Moving? No. Like,
No.
I don't feel like you had to move.
Right.
To do it. Like, my goal here, like, I'm not one for, like, saying what my next move is, but, like, my goal is to, you know, eventually
Can
get...
you just check the cameras for me, please? Thank you.
My goal is to eventually get to the Olympia stage. Like, even if I have to fucking do it, like, I'll do anything to eventually get there.
Of course.
But moving there, no, I don't think it's necessary. Like, especially I have family here, you know, I got my mates, close mates. Like, I'm not... Like, if I was secluded to everyone, if I had no one, different story.
Right.
But... no, making the move to America, not so much. Like, I'd fly there and probably spend 6 weeks during the prep while I've prepped here and, yeah, compete over there. But, no, I wouldn't move to America. It's just...
your roots are really founded here.
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot easier to be here than over there, to be honest, because, you know, you have your people that you connect with, you know, where to get your certain shit, you know, how to get your certain shit. Over there, you got to start all over again.
Yeah.
Which is hard. Like, Callum did it, but look at Callum now. Like, if you've seen a bit of
No,
news.
I don't know.
Oh, well, apparently he was on, like, acid or whatever, and he jumped off out his window, two floors. He jumped out. Or some shit. But he was on drugs.
Yeah.
And on the news, like, shit like that is going to cause your bodybuilding career to fucking go down the hills. So.
How about don't do acid while you're fucking doing trend and everything else? That's not good.
But yeah, so that's his lifestyle now. But yeah, like, I want to do it properly. I don't want to...
Is he still competing?
He's never been on... Like, I wouldn't say he's competing. Like, I haven't heard he's doing any preps recently.
Right.
But he's just come out of that recovery when he fucked up his leg and his bicep.
Right,
and all that bullshit. But
so we're looking at like years of rehab just from that, I imagine.
But apparently he's recovered now, but he's doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the last time I've had other recreational drugs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but back to your question about the whole being an arsehole. If you are like him, like right now, if he was an arsehole, David, he could fucking do it. Like, he's fucking Australia Super Heavy. Number 1. But he's not. He's very humble. He's very, like, very good to talk to.
Yeah.
And then you got Michael Lucy. Came second, bitching about it because he didn't come first. You know
I think there's a difference, right? Like, if you're going to be, let's call it an arsehole. If you're going to be an arsehole, backstage to try and psych other people out. That's in the name of competition.
Yeah.
That's in the name of the spirit, and you may not like it, you don't like the strategy, but it's the game, and it's how it's played, and not everyone's going to play by those rules, but some people will.
Yeah.
You know, it's in MMA, you see a very similar thing where like certain fighters will be like, oh, don't talk about family, don't talk about friends, like that's drawing a line. And then there's other fighters that go, there is no fucking line.
Yeah.
You know, we're here in a competition. We can get into a cage and try and knock each other out for 15 minutes. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no rules here. So, but we're looking in the span of competition. Once the competition's over, medals have been handled out, and you're, you know, acting that way, then you're not doing it in a proactive way to try and compete. You're just reacting.
Yeah. But I've never really, like what you're saying is like, I've never really experienced an hustle besides what I experienced in Melbourne. Like,
And I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that for the most part, the bodybuilding community here in Australia.
I feel like in Australia, it's like very friendly compared to what they like experience in America. But like I said, Michael Luzzi secluded himself, didn't want to talk to no one, made it like he was like, because that's his hometown, he's like, it's his thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only majority of an arsehole that I've experienced. I have never had anyone walk up to me and say, oh, congratulations, come second, or whatever. Like, I've never, I don't think.
To be fair, bro, it would take balls of steel to say that to you. I mean, dude, does anyone cause you? Have you ever like had people be rude to you like directly? Like, has anyone tried to start a fight with you?
I'll start a fight. Like, I've never had to have a fight, but I've had. It's never been one person, if that's what you're saying. Like, I've had like two people come up to me and like try to start shit, and I'm just like, what are you gonna do? Like I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't, like I'm in my life where nothing bothers me. Like, if you piss me off, you piss me off. But like, I've made it the fact that my happiness is free. Yeah. But my angry, pissed off side is something that you need to pay for. You know, like, that's where I'm at with my life now. But no, like, I feel like I'm pretty neutral when it comes to meeting new people, or if I'm in an area that I'm not.
Which breaks the mold of the stereotype of what a bodybuilder is, right? Because everyone just associates bodybuilding to roid rage and not being able to control yourself and smashing things. And it's like when you meet someone who's so neutral and so comfortable within their own body, and for the most part happy and energized to be, you know, doing what they do, it breaks that mold. It breaks the stereotype.
Definitely. I shit you not. I've heard I am intimidating from so many fucking people, and that's before I open my mouth. They look at me like, you look scary. Like, what was it? 2 days ago, I had one of my mates at the gym, his missus that trains there. We were just talking about like where good gyms are and everything, and she's like, she goes, there's too many big guys in this gym intimidating like you. And I'm like, do you actually think I'm intimidating? She goes, I used to be honest. Like, and I can tell you that I am very intimidating to a lot of people, because I do walk around like with this neutral aspect. Like I said before, I don't smile a lot, which is just my thing. Where I've got my training partner that's very approachable, smiles all the time, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like balance each other out. So when people do approach us, we're very knowledgeable when they ask questions, or when they want to know something, or they're asking about an exercise, or even in public, like if we're just chilling out, we're laughing, we're hanging out, whatever. Yeah. And it does break the mold of the whole concept of like bodybuilders are just roid raged, fucking insecure men or females, whatever. Where I feel like a lot of people that transition into bodybuilding probably have like a lot of insecurities, or have experienced a lot of bad shit in their life, and just instead of getting therapy, they just go to bodybuilding. Which it's not.
And it's only one aspect of health, right? It's your physical health. There's so much more to it.
But it's not nothing. I'm going to fucking sound like a dickhead. It's not that there's nothing healthy about bodybuilding. It's just going into bodybuilding and start injecting needles into yourself isn't healthy.
No, of course not.
We're trying to, I listen to another podcast, which is Real Bodybuilding Podcast. And me and my mate listen to that as often as we can, and try to get as much knowledge as we can from older generation bodybuilders, young generation bodybuilders, and all that stuff, so that we can make it as healthy as we can. Like you can't, but to a certain extent, if there's ways around it where you're not, like I said before, jabbing high dosages of test, where you can jab low dosages of test and not put your body at risk. And that's the whole...
Well, the high percentages of test doesn't even make sense, because I don't think it gives your body enough time to process it. Like, your body naturally wouldn't be getting, 60 milligrams of test at one hit. Like, it naturally just produce it over time, right? So imagine smaller doses more frequently would be the healthier option.
Yeah, like I said, now I'm cruising now, so I'm only on 1 mil, which is every 10 days, which is, for me, that's normal. But if I was doing my regular cycle, I would say 1.5 of test, which is not a lot compared to what a lot of people do when they say I'm jabbing 4 mil a week, which is a lot, especially if it's...
Where do you want to take this? Where do you want to go? What's the end game for you?
For bodybuilding?
Yep.
Get overseas, get on the Olympia stage, and after that, see where it goes from there. Like, until I get to that goal, then there's obviously next levels after that. But yeah, right now, my goal is to get a pro card in IFBB Pro Leagues. And once I get my pro card there, compete overseas and win a pro show, or win a pro show here, and get my ticket to Olympia. Which is I don't ever share those goals with a lot of people, but that's where I'm heading for.
Well, if you're not aiming big, then why even bother?
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, man, that's your camera. Let the people know where to find you.
Follow me on Instagram. My Instagram name is a bit hard to say out loud. I think it's B-, .A.D, and then .. again. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, and if you have any questions about bodybuilding, feel free to ask. Cheers.
100%. We will leave all the links in the description down below. Remember to smash the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. That's it.